of the Mind Flare.
Welcome to Theatre of the Mind Flayer, a D&D play podcast set in the homebrewed world of Jekyll. We've got 2 DMs for some reason, which can only mean twice the fun. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time at
Theatre of the Mind Flare.
Okie dokie dokie do. I guess we start with an AO. AO?
Ayo.
Is this how we start? AO. Welcome to Theatre of the Mind Flare. I'm Jacob Machin. That's Daelyn Lester-Serafini.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, governor. Her accent has changed since she's been in England.
Oh, yeah, mate.
Yeah, bruv, in it. Oh, gosh.
Since they gave me those sausage rolls, everything's changed.
That's where they get the accent from.
Yeah,
The sausage roll gets lodged in the throat like a kazoo, and that's how the accent comes out.
And the rest is just vocalized through.
Exactly. We're here. We're jumping into the next episode of whatever the heck is happening with Safirith. I still don't know the format of this. I was like, do we do an improv game up front? There's only 2 of us. We can't see each other. Let's just jump on in.
Yeah. Let's just jump in. And if we're ever having a day that we're like, I yearn for improv, then we can jump on in. But today,
there is never a day where you yearn for improv. Improv is just thrust upon you.
Especially listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
I love every time it's like, let's play an improv game, and everyone goes,
Yeah, it happened literally the last recording session. I was like, we're going to play an improv game, we're going to play this game. And I got an audible like, nah. And I was like, all right, fuck you guys. We don't have to do improv. I just thought it might warm you up. So.
No, at this point, the resistance is part of it.
Also, the when it pops. Like, they're very good. But when it crashes, it crashes so honestly, bad.
The bit with you like turning it into an acting class with Michael is my
berating Michael.
I love it. I get way too much enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, that's how we all try to save it. But no, I love watching them and listening to them do the improvs, and it never turns out the way I want it to. We did establish that Luke nearly always turns into some sort of sentient goober being in every improv. He always becomes some mass of material that has some sort of voice. So. And
I know we all have our improv voices that we tend to do, but I love that his like goes up here for some reason.
Let's me talk. We're going to talk like this for a little while.
Oh wow! I love the house and the way it's got. I'm like, who are you, buddy?
Shout out to Luke. Shout out to Danielle. Luke. Shout out to Herc. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Caleb for your improv skills. Caleb especially for your shitty suggestions. They are a thing of beauty, never change. He has had some absolute crackers, to be honest.
What was it the other week? It was like briber and bribey.
Briber and bribey. Yeah, what was the most recent one? Something to do with like master and ow! I just pulled my headphones out. I keep forgetting I don't have Bluetooth headphones, so I slam my hand down and I yank them out of my ears.
It rips it out.
The last one was not briber and bribey. It was like master and student. The student becomes the master. I was like, that's pretty damn good. So, in our last session,
you can't not do it.
Yeah, it's a staple now. You, Safirith, ended up transported to a strange blue orb prison in this large, dark, empty warehouse-like dungeon. You were dumped there. You were made aware that there are more than you in this room. There are many other strange arcane orbs. As you kind of looked around, you managed to meet your cellmate next door in the orb next door, Kuhn, the dwarven woman. Let you know that you're kind of locked up in here until they drag you out for whatever reason. As you were in here, you also were buried under rubble, maybe in your mind, maybe for real, as your patron spoke to you and let you know that there is a very precious stone that they really honestly wouldn't mind getting their hands on. And as you came to once more after a long rest, you were kind of noticed that after having a nightmare about many shifting faces, shifting from friends to foes to the ultimate foe, someone from your past, you awoke bright and early with no sound coming in. This soundproof dome that you're trapped in with all your gear seems to betray the fact that there are the front doors to this lockup are open, and that what looks to be a number of guards have marched in and walked straight past your orb. You can see them walk down the row a little bit, and they drag what looks to be a tall elven man out of his orb. He looks well kept, but having definitely slept and stood and been in the same clothes for quite a long time. As they drag him out by his elbows, he's just kind of glancing at orb to orb to orb, like he's trying to clock and register who's in each orb. He is dragged past yours. You can see that he's got the typical kind of strand of elven hair where the sideburns would be. His hair's up in a messy bun. Very well maintained eyebrows and like sharp, dark Andrew Scott eyes. We'll give him Andrew Scott eyes. He's got very dark irises, very large pupils, and he's dragged away by these guards that seem to have black outfits with purple trim. You recognize these as the Queen's Guard, or at least the Queen's enforcers. He's dragged out through that door, and it shuts, and light is cut off, and you're now under the blue glow of your own orb. What would you like to do?
I still have like my stuff with me. Do I still have my sketchbook and stuff with me?
You seem to have everything on you that you previously had. There doesn't seem to be any deficit of material. And
I'm gonna, as Safirith's sitting in the cell, kind of feeling now kind of that familiar restless feeling. Like still a little numb, still a little in shock, but after sleeping and waking up, she's more of that aware, restless feeling of being in a space that you can't leave. And there's an instinct to pace, and she doesn't. She just stays sitting on the ground. Instead, she pulls out her sketchbook and starts sketching the room. Just making note of the exits, and also trying to copy are there any, can you see any patterns on the dome itself? Like, are there any like arcane?
I've once again pulled my headphones out. You can go ahead and make an Arcana check, and I'll amend what I said. I forgot that you don't actually sleep, so your kind of meditation period there.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, I think at that point, with like, she wouldn't have slept necessarily, but just with everything going on, she would have laid not moving for.
There's a point where you're like, there's not much else I can do. I suppose I will just shut my brain off for a little bit. If you make an Arcana check for me.
Cool. Oh, okay. That is a 10.
10. Looking at this arcane dome, you do detect there are some like pulsing sigils there. You don't quite understand what they are or what they mean. There is possibly a possibility to dispel this magic. And as you look upon it, the only thing that really stands out is when you kind of touch the side, the sigils kind of spread like a droplet of water in a body of water. As the ripples kind of pull out, they spill out, and then where that circle is where those tiny little holes that you're not 100% sure, but they look like they could fit like an ant or something through them.
Okay.
That's about all. As you're kind of looking around, that's all you would be able to check with that.
Okay. Yeah, to try and like, I guess, keep her mind busy and just not think about what's currently happening. She'll, yeah, keep drawing in her sketchbook. Mostly portraits, I guess. Once she's like finished sketching the room, she'll start drawing the people that she can see in the pods around her, and then the people that she left behind, she'll make more sketches from memory, trying to remember their faces. Excellent. And what they looked like before she disappeared. As
you're sketching, the doors open up after an hour or two, and that elven man is brought back in, marched through to the kind of the back of the many domes of blue, and sealed in one there.
Is he pushed through the surface of it, or does it like open and then shut?
It looks like it completely drops. Like from a point in the very center of the ceiling, it drops, like it melts down, like when you pour chocolate over one of those fancy desserts, and it just kind of splits open. And as he is pushed in there, it immediately starts to curl up and forms that sphere once more. You watch as they march around. The guards, the human guards, they kind of look at you. They step towards the dome beside you with Kuhn in there. You watch as two of the guards place a hand each upon the dome, and it drops. They step in, and Kuhn kind of just looks up at you and gives you just a nice smile, and she is dragged out through the doors there. You can see that her bedroll is kind of there in the center, and once the dome has been dropped, as soon as they step back out, they raise their hands again, and the dome seals back up with their separate touch, like two nuclear missile operators turning the key at the same time. As Kuhn is kind of dragged out, walked out, marched out, the door shuts once more. You are left alone again.
Naturally.
Continue to sketch.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the elf that got brought back in is he wearing like battle armor or like any visible insignia or anything on it?
I'll get either a history or an insight check.
Okay, let's do some history. I went to the schools. Just kidding. 12.
You recognize elven garb, more of a dignitary than a fighter. Okay. You wouldn't recognize any specific crest, any specific build or occupation. Just a dignified elf, which is, sometimes goes without saying. Someone from Neodract, and with a 12, you would gather that if they're here in dignitary clothing, they either came here as a representative of King Colm, the Elven King, or were maybe taken from somewhere. But looks well kept.
Okay. And does he still, like, having been brought back in now, are there like any visible signs of being beaten or?
No signs of physical torture. He does seem he's got sunken eyes, which is odd for an elf who doesn't need sleep. He looks tired, which is odd for an elf who doesn't need sleep. And he is back like a couple of orbs away from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just keep sketching, and yeah, I think eventually her mind kind of turns to, she tries to imagine what this gemstone looks like. And just, yeah, starts filling a page with like images of different gemstones in her mind, kind of letting her imagination.
As you do that, another hour or so passes before Kuhn is brought back in. As Kuhn is brought back in, they touch the orb with a hand each, and it drops, pushed back in there. As Kuhn is pushed back in there, the orb seals back up once more. The guards look at you. You watch as they mutter to each other in near silence. Through the dome, you can't really hear anything, and they walk out the front door. As the door shuts, you're left there. Kuhn kind of gives you another nod and a smile, and just mimics like eating a sandwich, and then points at the guards.
Last logistical question. Last session, she said that they hadn't been given any food.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys hadn't been given any food. You guys don't need any food. But she pointed to the guards and mimicked eating a sandwich.
Okay. I'm going to tap on my bubble and see if it lets me speak.
The speaker holes appear, the dish plate, the dinner plate, like section kind of peels apart, and these tiny holes appear. Kuhn steps up and taps hers. Same thing happens.
Yeah.
She says, "So, good news is we don't shit ourselves when we're taken out of the orb. I know that was a real problem that you were worried about. You were worried about pissing all over the floor as well, and needing a towel to clean that up. But it's all gonna be fine. They've gone for lunch, as far as I can tell. But I wouldn't be surprised if you're next."
Who's in the room with you?
Seems to be just one of Banrian's detectives or arbiters or something, asking questions about, what I do, whether I've spoken to anyone else in here, what I've learnt from anyone else in here. They seem very keen to get us to rat on each other, so maybe don't tell me anything important.
Okay. What did they look like?
The guy doing the questioning, he had like a long kind of curled beard, like almost like beauty queen pageants when they have their hair curled and it kind of sits in a it doesn't quite look as good as they think it does. He has that for a beard and a bald head. Nice enough bloke, but the room's odd, kind of a bare room with one light source.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up. I appreciate it.
That's all right. You're doing all right. You seem a little.
I don't like being in small spaces anymore. I don't know. It never used to bother me as a kid. I think because we had to hide out on the streets and just nooks and crannies were actually the safest place to be. But now I feel like when I can't leave a space, I start freaking out a little bit. So
that makes sense. Aye, that makes sense. Well, breathe the fresh air as best you can while you're out there, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. It's when it feels like, I think time has felt like it's so slow. Like I haven't really been realizing what's happening, and now it's all suddenly rushing and hitting me all at once. Just where I am and what's happening.
let me ask you this. Do you know what's happening?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I have theories, but
You can't worry about it then.
yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought of it like that. But yeah, you're right. I can't really worry until something happens.
Exactly. As you say, something happens. The door opens. Those two guards step on in. As they step on in, they place a hand each upon your bubble, and the whole bubble drops. As the bubble drops, you hear Kyun say, "Good luck," and then tap her bubble, and it seals. As the speaker on her bubble seals, the guards just kind of come to your side and kind of hook their arms into your elbows. One of them just says, "Questioning. This way."
I'll try and slip my sketchbook into my back pocket and go with them.
Excellent. You slip your sketchbook into your back pocket. As you step out, you walk through the corridor. This time you are not hooded. And as you step out into the corridor, it is a like a winding stone corridor. You can see there are torches built into the wall. It has a proper dungeon feel, and as you walk through, the flicker of the torches kind of make the shadows dance on the walls there. As you're led through, soft kind of footsteps on the stone floor, you're led around to the left and down a corridor. As you're led down the corridor, you're led up some stairs, slowly kind of stepped up some stairs. They readjust their position, so one's behind and one's in front. They're no longer linking arms with you, like you're skipping down the yellow brick road. As they lead you up the stairs, you come to what looks to be a ringed walkway, a walkway that rings around some sort of drop-off. You can see from where you are as you step out, there's railing, and there looks to be a number of levels above you across the way and a number of levels below you. You're not able to get too close to the edge before the guards kind of twist you and turn you, and you start to walk around the outside of this square structure that seems to have multiple floors with a huge drop in the center, like some sort of...
Guggenheim Museum, like around the edge, and it's going up, like spiraling up and down.
Of course, like the Guggenheim Museum. Google's Guggenheim Museum images. Guggenheim Museum images. What the fuck? What is this? I want to go to the Guggenheim Museum.
Yeah, Jake.
Wow.
Oh, I figured you would have been. You would love it.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Hold the fuck.
It's
What is
so-
this big mechanical spider out front? No, I was more thinking just like a like The Raid or the movie Dread, that kind of building that has like an apartment complex with a atrium in the middle.
That's much more appropriate to the setting.
No, fuck that. Interior Guggenheim Museum. Whoa. This is like some MC Escher shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You go
big.
on the edge and you get to see like all the art. Like it's not art in separate rooms. It's all on one path. So you get to kind of see it all.
Where is this?
New York.
Fuck. All right.
You go back. You go.
Guggenheim. Okay. No, not quite that weird and wacky. More boring and stone and castle-like.
Okay.
Fuck. Now I'm gonna have to spend 4 days googling architectural wonders so that I can expand my. This is bullshit.
Thanks. Thanks for the little detour.
Yeah, that's all right. You are led around the outside of this boring ass building to a room that is right near the corner here. A wooden door with kind of metal trim and a metal knocker. The metal knocker is tapped. Excuse me. The metal knocker is tapped, and you hear, "Yeah, enter." Enter. The door opens, and you would see what is a stone table that seems to be built into the ground. It kind of comes up, curves, and comes down, like simply like the letter M with the center, or the letter N maybe. The center kind of chopped out, just a single stone platform there, you would see a man, large, very large curly beard, like someone's put rollers in it, very soft looking, and these beautiful kind of brown bushy eyebrows. As you step on in, you can see the entire room is made from one single carve of stone rather than several stone blocks. And as you step on in, you immediately feel the voice and sound deaden, almost like you're stepping into another kind of isolated chamber. As you step on in, he gestures to the chair, turns to the guards and says,
"You can leave. Thank you."
The guards turn, nod, and the door is shut behind. He sits there. He pushes his chair back a little bit and just kind of puts one leg over the other and folds his hands on the table over to the side there. Very comfortable position.
I'll stay standing.
He says,
"Is there anything I can say or do to get you to sit with me? Anything I can do to make you comfortable?"
You can tell me who you are and where I am.
he grins and he says,
"I am one of the Queen's arbiters. I investigate. I inform her of what's going on. And I
didn't ask what you are. I asked who you are.
He grins. He says,
You can call me Alphonse. How about that?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Even if it might not be true, I'll take it.
He gestures to the chair once more, but his eyes start to wander around the room as he just kind of talks. He says,
We got a special request from a known individual to Queen Banrian. We picked you up accordingly. However, Queen Banrian has other interests, and before you hand it over to the person who requested your procural, your capture, to use a bit of an unsavory but possibly accurate term, she wants to know what you know, and why you feel you may be here.
I'll walk over to the chair and sit down. And
the
try and
kind of creaks.
mimic his posture and mirror him exactly.
Yeah.
And kind of give him a bit of the same like grin that he's given me, and just go, look, Alphonse, your guess is as good as mine. I just ran away from home, so I don't think I'm all that valuable to anyone.
Right. So as far as you can tell, this has been a big misunderstanding, and as soon as whoever it was that ordered you to be picked up sees you, you'll be free?
I mean, I don't know who it was that ordered my capture, so how can I...
What's your relationship to Barris Rackhold?
The crime syndicate?
The leader of the crime syndicate, yes.
I mean, I know of him. Sure, everyone knows about the Rackholds.
Do you know anything specific about the Rackholds? You had any experience with the Rackholds?
I'm just a street urchin. I heard stuff. But, like I said, I'm not anyone of importance.
Kind of nods to himself. He says,
When's the last time you were in Sevilla? More specifically, Oyer, the city?
Years. It's been years.
And to the extent of your knowledge, well, I mean, the extent of your understanding of the Rackhold Syndicate, just that they're a bad family and they run the underbelly of Oyer. That's all you know. That's the only connection you have.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that you could get paid well for running shit for them, but that you were risking your life to do so. So just never seemed like a good enough payoff for me personally.
Yeah.
No, I left for personal reasons, but yeah, I haven't been back, and I don't really know what's happening in the city anymore. Ears off the ground.
He turns towards you, kind of feet under the desk now, massive hands and elbows on the table, leaning forward. He says,
"The people that want you picked up are dangerous people, and if you have anything you can give us or you can tell us before we tell them exactly where you are, then it might help your chances of getting out of here on your own terms. I'm going to ask one more time. What do you know about Barris Rackhold?"
I know he's incredibly powerful, and he seems to have the ear of the queen, so if it's him that's interested in me, I figure I'm fucked either way, don't you think?
I would like you to make a deception check for this whole facade that you're putting up here.
Oh, come on, baby. Come on, where's that charisma?
Where's that ruse?
19.
19. Okay. He leans back after staring you down for a moment, creaks back in his chair, and he goes,
Well, figures. Well, I guess I should tell you now that he's actually shown his face a little more often than he previously has. His operation seems to be kicking up a few gears, and you've been highly sought after by him. He actually, well, don't tell anyone I told you this, but he actually liaised with Queen Banrian's right-hand man in order to try and find where you are and how to get to you. There were rumors that you disappeared to Bocht. Now, that's... you want to be glad you're not in Bocht right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, why wouldn't I want to be there? I mean, I heard that it's a place nothing really happens.
Nothing happens. There's no natural resources or anything. People wonder why it would want to be invaded. Constantly, we're asked why people want to invade. Why only last session, Luke asked why were people wanting to invade Bocht, and we were like, "Come on, man, we've been through this. Please, man, give us a break." He looks at you evenly and he says, "Don't you worry about Bocht. That whole struggle will be over pretty soon. I'm pretty sure we got boots on the ground right now." And he just kind of looks at you evenly for any sort of reaction.
I don't break eye contact.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to end this with a staring contest. Constitution check versus constitution check. Just a flat constitution check.
Okay. Come back. Shit. This is when my D&D Beyond decides not to...
to shit itself.
Ooh. 22.
22. You hold. He is looking at you. He blinks again, and he says,
I guess the plight of the savages doesn't really stir in your soul at all. You're a cold son of a bitch, Safirith. You know that?
I've been told before. And I just smile back at him.
He says to you, this bearded individual, going under the name Alphonse, he says to you,
You been in touch with any family while you're away?
No, as far as I know, all my family are dead, so they wouldn't really reach out, would they?
even your brother, and you watch as his eyes roll back and you just see whites, and his eyes roll back and he goes,
Amden. Even Amden?
Like a little feather muscle in her jaw goes.
Mm-hmm.
My brother died a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
Well, shit. Listen, I'm sorry to hear that. I want to be absolutely clear that I and we are here to help. Whatever you feel about Queen Banrian, whoever you think may be in her pocket, or whose pocket she may be in, this is an alternative. Cooperating with the Queen's enforcers. But if you truly have nothing to really tell me, nothing to give, nothing to tell me about that ship you were on, the people you were with, where you came from, where you went, who the fuck is Cotton Eye Joe, then I guess I'll send you back to your dome and we'll let whoever's coming to pick you up come pick you up. Is that okay? Kind of stands, steps towards the door.
Look, you say you're an alternative. You're the Queen's enforcers. How does that not make you equal with her? You can't be you're not a separate entity. You're one of her limbs. You're an extension of her power. So I don't see how you think you can call yourself separate.
I'm not saying we're separate from her. I'm saying we're separate from whoever it is that really, really wants you. And I think you have a better idea of who wants to see you than I do.
Yeah, they give you their name?
I'll give you a few minutes to think.
And opens the door, steps out, and it shuts. And you are alone in this solid stone block.
I'm gonna check on the like, is there anything else in the room or left on the table, or
Make a perception or investigation check for me.
not good. Not good. 5.
Wow.
Blind as a bat.
You're able to get up and move around the room. The most interesting part of the room is indeed the door. It's the only part of this room that isn't made from the same chunk of stone. And with your 5, you can indeed confirm that there are no separate blocks of stone. It's like someone got a cube, hollowed out the inside. You're not sure how thick the walls will be. Hollowed out the inside and carved a table. There's just 2 wooden chairs and a wooden door with metal trim to it. That's all you can see in this room. And I will also get a quick history check from you.
Okay. Oh, the dice have turned on me now, baby. That's a nat 1.
A nat 1. A lot of terms have been thrown around: Queen's Guard, Queen's Enforcers, Queen's Arbiters. They're all jumbling into the same thing for you.
Yeah.
As far as if it has Queen in the name, then it's one thing.
Yeah.
Excellent. You sit in this room for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. 35 minutes.
I still have my sketchbook in my back pocket, so I'm gonna be sketching Alphonse's face as close as I can get it. Yeah.
As you're sketching, you get maybe halfway through it. At the 40-minute mark, the door opens again. Alphonse steps back in. He's in like tight black pants, big black boots. He's got like a white shirt in the way that bulky, like chunky men that still have decent muscle mass to them have.
Yeah.
This shirt that's a little bit tight and the sleeves are rolled up to his mid forearms. You see hairy forearms. As he walks on in, he steps back in and sits down. As he sits down, he looks and he goes,
Ah, is that me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very good, but you were just so attractive. I had to add you to my collection, you know?
There is like a glint in his eye of like amusement, and he says,
Well, don't let me stop you. We got time.
and he just sits back in that same pose, but instead of crossing his legs, he's kind of folding his arms in front of him. Just a different posture there, and he literally just sits there and stares at you, and then nods down to the picture.
I keep sketching, and without looking up at him, I'll like keep talking to him while I'm sketching.
Uh-huh.
You asked me a lot about me, but you been in touch with your family recently? And I'll just like look up at him and tilt my head and kind of smile.
He grins and he says,
Oh, I don't have much family. I lost what little family I had not too long ago, and I'm, regretful of that, but I'm trying to make amends.
Oh, did they all die too?
In a way, a lot of them did, but I'm holding out hope for one of them.
Well, I'm sure all of your hard work will be rewarded soon.
looks at you and he says,
Oh, I have no doubt, and the full support of the Queen. You can achieve anything.
Of course. I mean, loyalty always pays its debts, doesn't it?
And who are you loyal to?
Oh, well, I only worship one god, and that's the god of chaos and blunt curiosity. Force majeure.
nods.
Force majeure. Not one I've heard of, but
Oh, don't worry.
you seem...
You'll hear of him soon.
Uh-huh.
He really rewards his followers. You should think about joining the church. More than they're always accepting new patrons.
I'm not really a religious kind of person.
Really? Alphonse? Wow, shocking.
He grins and he kind of shakes his head. And he says,
I am blown away by your treatment of me and my position. It's refreshing to not be met with fear or straight up suspicion. I mean, I can see suspicion in your eyes, but this back and forth, this witty repartee, it's nice. It's real nice.
Oh, good. I'm glad to be able to provide something. I'm just such a giver.
he says, he leans in very closely, kind of puts a hand over the top of the book your sketch. And as his hand goes over the top of your sketch of him, he says, "Don't give him anything."
I'll just...
And he kind of leans back, pushes his chair out, walks back to the door.
As he goes to leave, I'll just give him a nod and say, "I'll see you in church."
He says,
I'll see you before then.
and he steps out. As he steps out, the door shuts. And about 15 or 20 seconds later, it opens again. And Alphonse walks back in and says,
I'm so sorry, I got caught up. There was an issue downstairs. Didn't mean to keep you waiting so long.
Shuts the door, sits back down, crosses his legs, hands on the table, and says, "Oh, that's a very beautiful... Is that a picture of me?"
Yes. Yeah.
That's so nice. You did all that by memory.
Yes. Yeah. I'm a quick study.
I'm sorry. I've obviously stressed you out keeping you here for so long. If there's nothing else you can tell us, and if you're not willing to kind of, give the Queen's Arbiters something to go off to do with the Barris Rackhold and the whole Rackhold Syndicate and whispers of your brother and stuff like that, we're just working off scuttlebutt here, then we'll take you back to your cell, and thank you very much for your cooperation.
No, I've given you all I've got. I'm sorry to say. Wish I could have been more helpful.
He says, "Me too." Hashtag me too. All right. Kind of pushes the chair out, walks to the door and opens it. As he opens the door, the two guards kind of step in and gesture for you to step out. As you walk past, he says,
The Queen's Arbiters could really do with a discerning and, let's say, authority-averse figure like yourself. So keep that in mind.
As you're led away, do you make a perception check for me?
Oh, fuck!
What?
Oh my god. Nat 1.
Nat 1.
Oh,
Excellent.
no.
As you're led
I'm switching dice.
away from the interview room.
Switching dice. You are.
As you leave the interview room, you kind of glance back and you see him just leaning up against the wall there. Gives you a brief nod. As he gives you a brief nod and you turn right to head down the stairs, what you don't see is an identical copy of Alphonse just across the other side of the atrium, watching, arms folded, small sly grin on his face. And as characters and people, kind of NPCs, pass him, you don't see him anymore. We see a completely different figure walking off. As you are led back down the stairs, the guards lead you back into the room, swing the double doors open, the glowing blue spheres there. They place their hands up, single hand each. As they do, they gesture for you to step in.
I hesitate just for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And look them both in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just playing with you, and then I'll step into the dome.
Completely stoic faces, they hold their hands up and the dome seals once more. As the dome seals once more, they turn in unison and march out. The door shuts. You are back here alone. Kuhn kind of looks up and just gives you a brief nod. And, yeah.
I sit back down on the floor, kind of shaking just a little bit, and try and like put my hands in my pockets. Try and like rub my thighs and control the like shaking. I guess just like letting it drop, letting a bit of that like control drop.
Excellent.
I'll just turn and gesture to Kuhn and just kind of like tap my ear.
Kuhn taps the side of the dome. It opens up.
And I'll do the same.
Yours opens up. You're right there.
Yeah. I think I pretty sure I know who's coming for me, and it's probably real bad. So
Right.
you know,
We'll
just wanted to say thank you. And I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be here, but it was nice getting to know you, and and she's just kind of like, a little bit rambly and shaky.
Kuhn says, I don't know who's coming for you. I do know that I'm most likely going to be sent back into the war. And I feel like in the war I'm making tiny little scratches of progress. If you need anything, she cocks an eyebrow, you let me know, right? If my tiny little scratches of progress in the war have shown me anything, it's that every ally counts, every moment counts, and nothing is foretold, and nothing is confirmed until it happens, even if it is foretold or prophesied. Prophesied?
Prophesied.
Prophesied.
Oh, I don't know now.
Is prophesied when you murder a bunch of prophets?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's definitely what it is. So it must be prophesied.
Prophesied.
Or is that when you just know a lot about gardening before it's going to happen?
Ooh, a professor before it's going to happen. Much like the plant, that one was a creeper.
Yeah. I use humor to deflect. A classic.
No. Is that something that you've always done? Is that something that is just the character Safirith, or is that Daelyn Lester-Serafini leaking through into the character?
Oh, I think DM knows what that is.
We zoom out from this experience and we just see you and I sitting in chairs in therapy, just staring shell-shocked into the distance. Therapist goes, okay, we can go back to D&D. I'm like, yeah! Yay! And then we drop back into this scenario.
Oh, yep. That's us, baby. Yeah. Look, Kuhn, can I ask, they asked you about us, you said. Did they ask you about, like, the Queen, or Neodract, or, like...
It's weird. I was brought into the room and the big guy with the beard asked me about the war, about how it's going, who's winning, who's losing. I told him that there's been a set of ships that have been sent out. No, I don't know that. Do I know that yet? Probably not. I'll probably have to cut that. I told him that there's a... I'm getting confused with my timelines here.
That's very fair. There are many.
Yes. I told him that the war. I mean, we feel like we're winning, the dwarves, but I mean, sure, if you ask the elves, other things will happen. Anyway, told him a little bit about that, and then he stepped back in pretty quickly and started to ask me about the fellow prisoners and if I'd learnt anything and if they've said anything. And I just told them that you were the newest, and we had a bit of a chat, but not about much. Just that I know your voice. That's about it. I didn't say anything else. And then he left, and then came back in and apologized for leaving me alone for so long. Weird guy, slightly schizophrenic or something, I'm not sure. But he ended up leaving it with me and saying, look, if that's all you can contribute to Queen Banrian's arbiters in order to help them aid in the progress of this society, that I'll be given back to whoever picked me up. I have a feeling I was gathered for intel on the war and not much else. Like, I was picked up by enforcers, questioned by arbiters. I don't know what the enforcers were doing on the border there, but like I said, the enforcers also picked up the strange two individuals that seemed to be fighting in a gladiatorial sense.
Thanks. Yeah, that confirms some stuff, so I appreciate it.
That's okay. If I can help in any way, I mean, it's in my nature to help. And she kind of looks at you. You would notice, her clothing / armor has military insignias, and she's spoken about her troop and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well.
And she says, I don't like this place. I'm hoping to go back to where I came from, but I also don't really like what's happening there. So, this is honestly, might be quite telling, but this is the nicest kind of time. The time chatting with you is the nicest time I've had in a fairly long time. I mean, I loved my troop, and I didn't mind doing what we had to do, but, yeah.
Well, that's good. I like talking to you too. I mean, you kept me from completely spiraling into my own mind, so I very much appreciate it. You've already helped more than you know.
Well, I'm glad. And if your plan is to sit here and wait until you're picked up by the people that you gather are terrible and going to do terrible things to you, then I'm happy to help the time pass. But you let me know if there's anything else.
I mean, part of me is screaming to do anything I can to escape, to fight back. It hates that I'm just letting this happen, but I think they might have someone. And until I know that they do, there's nowhere for me to go. But, yeah. It feels like I'm stepping into an endless void that I've been running from for about, well, years, really. And now suddenly I find myself at the edge of it, and I'm here semi-willingly, which feels wrong. So I guess all of my natural instincts are screaming at me to do anything but what I'm doing, but I don't see another choice.
Sometimes you don't see the other choice until it literally stumbles in front of you. So if that's your decision, then I'm sure whoever you're doing this for is incredibly grateful for your courage.
Thank you. I hope so.
See, I told you didn't have to shit yourself. Did you feel anything at all?
No, I didn't. I kept waiting for it. I kept waiting for like a stomach drop or something, but nothing.
I thought it would be it would be funny if I, shit myself or piss myself in the room with the guy.
Oh, I kind of
You know,
wanted
a way
to,
get out of
honestly.
it.
I
Right?
I was
Right?
like, oh, power play. This would be the moment, but
Isn't it odd how we go from being children where pissing and shitting yourself is okay? There's a period of time when it's like, oh, it's embarrassing to piss and shit yourself. And then you get to a point where you're like, you know what? It would actually be a fucking power move if I pissed and shit myself right here.
yeah, but we're like, no, can't do that. Not until you're old, and then it's semi-embarrassing
do it.
again, but also accepted and yeah.
You know what? I'm going to make a vow here and now to at least at one point before I die, power piss or power shit myself.
Yeah, I think that's a good vow. I mean, it might have implications on the battlefield. You should definitely test it.
The dwarf grins and kind of pokes a pinky finger through one of the holes. You can see her pinkies, she's got those chunky pinkies and it doesn't quite poke through, but she does. And she says, pinky promise you'll do it?
I just extend my pinky through the hole and I'm assuming we're nowhere close enough to be able to reach, but I'll just curl.
Nowhere close enough, but your pinky does move through the inch or so of arcane barrier and you do poke it out. And as you feel like the air just on the outside of it, the hole does wrap around the base of your pinky and you can't quite push any further. And she grins and kind of wiggles her finger and pulls it back out.
I've made some promises before, but I think that's my favorite.
None more important than this one. This is the most important promise you'll ever make.
Thank you, Kian. Look, I hope it all goes okay. I know an embarrassingly little amount about the war in Neodract.
Well, if you've got time, I'll happily regale you on it.
I mean, anything to pass the time in here.
And as we kind of fade out from this scene, Kuhn begins to tell you about the origins and the current status of the war in Neodract, which I think is where we'll pick up next time.
Wow, cool.
Theater of the Mind Flip.
Thank you for listening to Theater of the Mind Flayer. If you like what you heard, give us a like, give us a review, rate us 5 stars. If you want to hear more, follow us on Patreon for more exclusive content and extra goodies. And make sure you follow us on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Theater of the Mind Flayer or at mindflayer_pod. Thanks.